Okay, Saber fans, how you guys doing? This is Kal-El, and I'm doing my video review of the Manticore. Again, I apologize for the crappy video, but, well, I still haven't gotten a better video camera, so this will have to do. Please disregard the shabbiness of the bedroom as well, but anyway, this was my Christmas present to myself. And there are two special ones on the way for my little Padawans. But I had a special place in my heart for the Manticore. I mean, I've loved this hilt ever since I've seen it first time, and absolutely had to have one. So, as you can see, I couldn't go completely all out. I wanted to get a recharge port. This was my first Saber that I was determined to buy a recharge port on. And I will say this. Absolutely, completely perfect. I will probably never buy another Saber without a recharge port again, as even with the slow timing on the recharge port, as you can see, it's charging here. It does not charge up anywhere near as fast as a recharge port, but hey, who cares? It's the fact that I never had to take my batteries out of my Saber again. Not hard to do in this Saber or many of the Sabers that Ultrasabers sells, but if you've done it enough times, you know what I'm saying when I say being able to just light your Saber up at any point in time is a wonderful thing. So, without any further ado, well, I'll tell you what, before I go cuckoo with it, let me pause for a second, turn off the lights. Okay, and I'm back. It is, let's see, 8 o'clock on a dark, dismal day in New Jersey. About 37 degrees outside, cold, so you can see there is sunlight kind of shining through, but I like my room dark because I work overnights, and well, I'm kind of like a vampire. I spontaneously combust into flames when sunlight touches me, so yes, my room is fairly dark. But here is your first look at the Manticore. This is a custom red that I've done on the 2-channel emitter, which gives a very nice flickering effect when set to a 0.2 on the speed. The red is slightly dimmer than the main color red I have, and that allows it to have this kind of pulsing / flickering effect. That is the famous Vader font that I'm just in love with. Yeah, it totally fits the Saber. I mean, you see that in Manticore. This is not my camera going crazy. That is the flicker effect, and it just looks so stunning coming off of that beautiful emitter. Now, we'll go into the switch in a minute because I did opt to do some slick stuff with the switch. I know a lot of you were thinking, how's that for effect? Please do not watch this. Just shut that down right quick. I probably should issue a disclaimer on the review. Probably should issue a disclaimer on the review. Please do not watch this if you are subject to seizures, as this probably will cause you to have one. Anyway, this is my short video review of the Manticore with a 2-channeled red and blue emerald LED. The software is just phenomenal. I love it. It's very easy and simple to understand and play with. By all means, take a second and actually watch the videos. Emery is a very intelligent fellow and goes over all of these simple things that you need to know in order to use it properly. As I said, the recharge port, I was kind of weirded out at first by this little nut that they have here covering it, but it's really not that important nor that bad. When it comes to sake of feel, you don't notice it whatsoever. As you can see, it literally doesn't stick out much further than the actual groove here, and it creates a really nice hold point in your hand. You can actually set it in between your fingers, and it creates a really nice grip. Same deal with the AV switch. Anybody who's wondering whether or not the AV switch is a much better grip to have on a Saber as compared to the guarded switch, yes, it is. It is a much lower profile. I've had a Saber or two that has the guarded switch on it, and it doesn't get in the way. It's not annoying, but believe you me, the AV switch is much lower, and on the majority of hilts that I've had, feels a lot more comfortable in your hand. I don't really have much more I can say on this hilt other than, yes, at the current moment, this is by far my favorite hilt. I love this design. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I wouldn't change anything about it. Give me 1 second, folks. I'm going to pause one more time. There we go. I just wanted to switch it up for a second. Turn the lights back on and give you guys a kind of idea, lengthwise, what this saber is like. Next to it, I have the standard initiate. And as you can see, they're just about dead nuts even, okay? Dimension-wise, this inside here, which was a big question for me, is the same diameter as the initiate. So for all of you thinking that this is a big hefty hilt, it's not. This is a 1.5 outer diameter on the actual hilt itself. There's a slight bulge here that tapers. This actually feels wonderful in the offhand. And for those of you thinking this is not big enough to double with double hand, that's not true. That's definitely not true. I mean, the saber could stand to have an extra, I'd say 2 inches added to the neck here, which would make this a much, much, much better balanced saber. So I'm in the process of taking a custom Ultrasabers piece that I have procured. I'm going to be adding it to the neck after I get it anodized black and having a machined groove put into it so it actually matches the body. All you're going to see is this silver trim ring, the black neck with the groove, and then the emitter. So essentially, looking at the Manticore, you will not even recognize that I've added that piece in there. But for those of you who actually love these hilts and take good note, will notice that, yes, it does have an extra piece added to it. But back to the discussion at hand. This is my standard initiate stunt saber. Okay, that is Guardian Blue, although with the flash on my cam going right now, it actually does look like it's more an Arctic Blue. So for those of you wondering, this is Arctic Blue with the flash on. It's a Guardian Blue, but it looks like it's Arctic. And for comparison purposes, this is my console Reaper. I'll show you the link to the hilt in a minute, but it is actually Arctic Blue, and if you can see down towards the very end of the blade, it's just so hard to really judge with the flash on. That is Arctic Blue. It's probably the best comparison you're gonna get, and then you can see the real Guardian Blue next to it. It is so bright that it actually pales out the Guardian Blue. I love the Arctic Blue. It's just a very gorgeous color. Okay. But back to what I was saying. I wanted to really give you a good idea of what the hilt itself, size-wise, is like. The Manticore isn't much larger than an initiate with just a plain consular pommel added. You see it's almost dead nuts here as well. And length, again, dead nuts up top. So you're talking about 10 inches, which is only an inch larger in length than the initiate itself, which is what I feel makes it capable of being a very good two-handed saber. But for those of you who really like long hilts, I went ahead and took my consular because I love the consular. It just was a great hilt, just very simplistic, wonderful balance. But the emitter on it I felt was a little heavy, even though it looks very nice. I thought the emitter was a little bit heavy. So what I did was I took the emitter off of my Reaper, my Azure Reaper that I won. I actually gave that to a friend who loved it. After I made a few more changes and turned it into the Kryptonian. He loved it so much that he got it as a gift. I mean, he wanted it. He loved it. I was not going to tell him he could not have it because he's the one who put me on to Ultrasabers in the first place. So by all means, he's enjoying that saber right now. Myself, out of the deal, got my emitter and my pommel from the Reaper. And I haven't thought of a name for it yet. But in Arctic Blue, it is just a long, very well balanced and light hilt. It is lighter than the Manticore by ease, and it is as light as the initiate, but with the length. So the balance on this thing is just so much better. I mean, you're talking from one end of the spectrum, all the way down here at the pommel, all the way up to the blade of the claw, because I keep it on for effect. It looks really nice. It gets very streamlined without it, you can imagine. It just feels great. I mean, this is just a great dueling weapon. I probably would take the blade off for dueling with it, but for practice purposes, I love it. Use it all day long. It's great. This was my convincing factor of why I had to go ahead and buy a Manticore. Because after taking my Dark Warglaive and adding on the neck piece from the Guardian pommel, mates up perfectly with the Guardian there. It gives it a really nice edge to hold, so you don't get that abruptness that you get in the Guardian. You will see something very similar on the under the Guardian, on the Manticore emitter. You will see something very similar soon coming to the Manticore in that black as well. Yeah, just wonderfully, wonderfully immaculate. I was so in love with the Manticore that I already bought the emitter and the high profile pommel, which I really love the look of that pommel on the Manticore itself. But for balance purposes, the low profile pommel, in my opinion, is the way to go. And again, you get a simple extension on this bad boy, and the balance is just great. It's like holding nothing in your hands, just really, really light. That's about all I have to say on the Manticore. I mean, you take your opinions. This emitter, it looks phenomenal on anything. On anything. But as I said, if you can see the difference, why I would want to add the neck to it, just balances out. I mean, this is the Warglaive hilt. And as you can see, it already has about a good inch difference. You know? Because here's the end of the Manticore now. About a 1/4 inch in difference there. But for where you're holding it single hand, you're holding the Manticore right about here. Maybe even here. You could wield it down here and let, like I said, this bulb in your hand, this little flare out, just it feels very ergonomically perfect. You could hold this saber at the bottom all day long and duel with it. It's just very, very comfortable. But, you know, most people do not deal with the end of their saber being in their hand only. It's just not a very comfortable feel. But if you're going to, by all means, the Manticore would be a way to go. As you can tell, yes, the Manticore is my newest and most favorite saber. Since I have procured it, I have not stopped playing with it. In fact, I feel kind of bad. I probably should take my console/Reaper outside and play around with it. But at the current moment, I'm really loving these two sabers. These are my two go-to sabers right now for show purposes. As I said prior, the Manticore Reaper was my favorite practice saber, but she's getting a very close second right now to my Manticore. And in all honesty, if I didn't love the Manticore so much, this would be my offhand saber. It's in this exact size. And the Warglaive also in Guardian Blue because, well, I love Guardian Blue. I'm a blue guy. There's no question about it. The Manticore looks sick in the red. That Vader font just matches it so well. I stole it from another forum member. He gave me a great idea. I rolled with it. I apologize for stealing the idea, but thank you for giving it to me. I've been told the best way to show homage is to, you know, let people know that their work inspired you, and his work did. So, at the current moment, this is going to end off my collection of sabers for quite some time, at least till tax return season. But once tax return season hits, I will be picking up a 4-channel Guardian. It will probably be the only 4-channel saber that I own, but that's all right because it's a very beautiful showpiece, and I would like to have it. And then once I have that, I'm pretty certain that the Guardian is going to be my second to last purchase. I do want a Dominic's, or I should say a set of Dominic's, to make my staff. And then unless Ultrasabers really comes out with something phenomenal that catches my eye, that's probably going to be it for quite some time. So, to all you guys on the Saber forums, I know this review was a bit more winded and long than most of my normal reviews, but I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it gives you guys a couple of inspirational ideas. And, well, what more can I say other than thanks, Ultrasabers. Once again, you have given me a phenomenal product that I feel absolutely good paying the price I paid for it. And we'll continue to support and try and boost up sales for you guys so you keep making great products. Oh, by the way, got this all during the last 10% sale too. So yes, 2-channeled Emerald LED driver of a Manticore, 10% discount off everything. Enjoy!